topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
And welcome to Triversity Talk. I'm Wendy, and it's Wednesday night. How about that? I'm so happy to be here with everyone tonight, and it's a gorgeous fall evening. I'm actually broadcasting from New York City, but I've been in touch, of course, with people in Milford and in New Jersey, and everyone's saying it was, so beautiful. They love having that ping in the air. So speaking of fall, I want to let you all in on something that Triversity does every year. We have an incredible candy give out in front of our center. Okay, so if you're local, make sure that you hit us. We have literally thousands of pieces of candy and tons of kids, and it's a lot of fun. You can wear a costume or not. Well, I mean, if you don't wear a costume, you wear clothes, right? Okay. Anyway, please stop by the center. And also, you know what? It's never too early to talk about our holiday party, which is scheduled for December 7th. So again, you can find everything that you need to know about us on our website. It's really kept up to date. It's everything you always wanted to know about Triversity, but might not have asked. So tonight, I'm excited to have our guests because we're keeping it local. I love having people on in our tri-state area, and we're really local tonight. As a matter of fact, we share the building with our guest tonight. Our guest tonight believes that first and foremost, creative director of stagecraft performing arts. Okay, our guest believes that first and foremost, no auditions, no competitions, community first art school. Our guest actually came into Milford and we met, and I love the whole philosophy of his way he's looking at performing and what he's doing for our kids. It really is all about community and building self-confidence. So we're so lucky to have him. He has such an incredible background in New York, performing, dancing, emceeing. He does hair. Maybe he can help me. Please put your hands together for Daniel Lynn Evans. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Your background is so cool. I swear to God, it looks like the mothership is coming down to grab you at any moment.
It's just a white curtain on a black wall.
Isn't it amazing what we can do with streaming? It's incredible. I love it. So Daniel, thank you. I know how busy you are with stagecraft, and it's really great that you could be here with us tonight. And I had a little taste of what you could do with the kids because you brought wonderful kids to Pike County Pride. And certainly one of the girls that you had perform, it was just wonderful to watch her sensitivity, her vulnerability, and her trust. And this was not a professional kid, that's in pageants or whatever. I love what you're doing. Tell me how you came to Milford, Pennsylvania with this vision.
So the vision has kind of always been there. I grew up in a performing arts school it was technically a dance studio, but we actually mostly did show choirs. And so we focused heavily on movie soundtracks and musical theater. And those are the types of performances we did. We did very theatrical show choir numbers and big production numbers of sorts. And so when I, as a professional, and working in the city and around the world, speaking to other people and the programs that they grew up in, it was nothing like anything that I did. So
Wow.
I've always had this kind of back of my mind, like I should redo that. I should reopen that school, especially the summer camp formats.
Yeah.
So my summer camps growing up is every week would be a different theme. And you'd be at camp Monday through Friday. And then on Friday afternoon, all the parents came in and you put on a big show.
This is so great. It's so great, you know?
Yeah. And the themes were anything. I think my first year I did, the first week was called En Vogue. So it was all just like new pop music. And then the second, I only did 2 weeks. And so the second one was The Lion King. So we did all that because that was what had just come out. So we did all the songs from The Lion King, and then plus all these other Disney songs. And then my second summer, I did like TV and movie songs, and then Beach Boys songs, and then another week it was something else. So I was always wanting to bring that back and have more than just, you know, this is theater, this is music, this is dance, and have something that encompassed all of it. And it's not just about, you know, this is how you recital, and now we stand here and we sing our song and we nod to the pianist. And
you know, most schools, you shared with me that you're from Knoxville, Tennessee, and certainly most of the performing schools, especially when you get out of New York, are not as loose as you're describing. You're right. It's like, okay, now you're going to do this one, you're going to do that one. The whole pageant world, which I know about, that's a whole other thing. A lot of those kids would be in a dance school, in a performing arts school, because they're being prepped for pageants, they're very, very rigid. You know, It's not, you call your company stagecraft. It's not about the craft when you're talking about pageants and things like that. It's almost like, I think of it this way. It's like taking standardized tests and you have to hit all those marks, pardon the pun, but you do.
Yeah. Well, and that's really what I wanted. I wanted a school, a venue, a program, whatever you want to call it, where it's not about do it exactly what I told you. It's about how would you sing this song? I had to kick her out. That's why I was a little bit late. I had a voice lesson with one of my students, and she was saying like, oh, well, I don't want to sing it like that because I don't want my face to look dumb. And I'm like, well, no, your face isn't going to look dumb, sweetie. You have to enunciate the words. And when she actually took the advice and we sang through the song again and she did the enunciations, I looked at her and I said, was that 100 times easier for you to sing? And she was like, oh yeah, it really was. And I was like, yeah. So it's less about, for me with my students, it's less about do it exactly like this. And it's more about like, feel it. What does it feel like? Feel the sound in your mouth vibrating. Don't just say, I'm singing, you know, ah instead of ah. Like, why are you doing it? Why? Like, and make it feel good and make it. And when you feel the sound and when you feel the words and when you feel the emotions, that's what makes the performance good. That's what actually, that's what's entertaining, right? Like anybody can stand on stage and sing Tomorrow from Annie. But
it's a great example because everyone has stood on stage and said Tomorrow.
Exactly. But what sets a good performance of that aside from everybody else is who's feeling it. Which one of those performers that you saw felt it the most? And that was probably the one that did it the best.
Right. You know, this is connecting with me. I'm not a singer. And because of the pandemic, suddenly I was thrown into people's shows and I write these funny political parodies or just funny parodies. And it didn't matter that I couldn't sing. There are still those people that are like, oh, you know, why were you in there? You're not a singer. I want to say, Jesus Christ, didn't you listen to the lyrics? They're really funny. I'm a comedian. And I was lucky enough to work with Barbara Mayer Gustern before she was killed. She styles songs and she works with non-singers, as I'm sure you do when you're working with these kids. It's very important when you work with non-singers to hit that emotional component because we non-singers are not always great to listen to, but if you listen to our words and the words are enunciated and we're connected to them, we can draw an audience in.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, at the end of the day, whether you're acting, singing, or dancing, whatever it is, you're always telling a story.
Right.
So I focus on storytelling with my kids. I'm like, anyone, like I said, anyone can stand there and say the words and get all the notes perfect and get all the words perfect. But like, if you didn't really tell the story, then what was the point in being perfect?
Right.
And
Right. Or have something that sets you again, you know, that lovely girl, Grace, that you sang at Pike County Pride. It was her emotional connection. She sang something from, what was it, Little Shop of Horrors?
Somewhere That's Green. Yeah, she sang
Somewhere
it.
That's Green. Now,
And
I've heard amazing singers do that. She did it so honestly and vulnerable, and it wasn't a huge voice. The voice was small, and she was bigger than life standing there. It was really great.
yeah.
And I hope she understood how she reached everybody in the audience, because it was really perfect. And if that's your direction, that's amazing, really.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And Grace is a really wonderful example. She comes in all the way from Kittatinny, New Jersey.
Wow.
Because she said to her mom, I really want to perform, and I do not want to do it at school or anywhere near where my school is, because the kids that go to my school are all a-holes. And
Right.
there's
And they
no
bully and they make fun.
Exactly. That's honestly the biggest hurdle I have with enrollment, is that the kids around here are so quick to make fun of anyone who likes any sort of non-sport related activity.
No, I know.
And that's, you know, and that's a big part of the program as well, as we have discussions. There is some sort of class discussion every day in each rehearsal, where we talk about bullies. We talk about the girl that I just gave the voice lesson to. Oh, child, our voice lesson was about the boy that broke up with her, and now he's dating the lead in the play and all this stuff.
Oh, God, her poor little ego on that. That's like terrible.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, okay, well, that's what this voice lesson is now about. It's about you, you know, telling me about your, because he's one of my students as well. So it's like, you know, and she's telling me, oh, thank God for her, and she was there, and she helped me get through rehearsal yesterday, because that's when he sent the text, and all this kind of stuff. And
wow.
And you know, we talk about, you know, using your emotions, using your feelings, because the song that this girl that got broken up with just so happens to be singing at our performance at the church on Saturday is So Much Better from Legally Blonde, a song about why I'm going to be so much better without this guy. And so I was like, hiya, girl, tie it in, make it work.
Go for it.
You know, he broke up with her last week, saying that he just didn't have time to be the boyfriend that she needed. And then she found out yesterday that, oh no, he asked the girl that's the lead in his show at his school to be his
God. So, I know, but you know, their feelings. And I want to talk to you about this. The age groups you're dealing with are from what to what?
All of them. I do 6 and up now. So
their feelings are so sensitive.
Yeah, they really are. And I remember too, I remember being in middle school, and I remember everything just feeling like the world was grumbling around me, you know, and instead of, you know, and they get made fun of for showing emotion, you know, so
I was going to say that you're telling them to show them, but you know what? You have, if anything, created a safe space for them. They can't show this emotion in school because they will get bullied often or just made fun of. But by coming to Stagecraft, you made it okay. It's a safe space. They're not going to be judged. They're going to be supported. That's a really wonderful gift that you're giving to these kids.
Yeah. And that really is my whole philosophy, is to not make them feel judged, make them feel supported. That is 100% of what I do, why I do it, how I do it. Everything going in. When I go to give any sort of correction, I tell myself, compliment them first. Tell them no matter what it was, find something that was good about it and do that first, so that they know that you're coming from a place of support.
So I have to ask you, do you have any training, working with kids as a teacher or anything that it specializes working with kids, or is this instinctive and based on a very positive experience you had growing up?
It is that. It is 100% based on the school that I had growing up, the performing arts school, because it really was because of that school that it's made me the person I am today. And I don't mean as a performer, I don't mean talent, I don't mean singing and dancing. I mean my confidence, I mean my ability to stand up for myself, my ability to say, this is who I am. I am going to be unapologetically me. And if you don't like that, then I will take me somewhere else instead of trying to.
I'm just on this Daniel Lynn Evans train with you right now. Choo choo. Absolutely. But you learned this from growing up in a supportive performing arts background.
Yeah, basically, pretty much. Yeah.
What a valuable gift.
Yeah. And also just going through my 20 plus years as a professional performer and also a hairstylist for TV, film, and Broadway. And taking all of those experiences and going, when was I happy? When was I miserable? And what was the difference? And because the longest running show I ever performed in was only open for a year, my one open-ended run.
And what show is that? Please share.
It was called Trip of Love. It was an off-Broadway 60s review.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I had a blast. But, there were parts of it that were great and parts of it that weren't so great. And, just really dissecting that and also dissecting fellow cast members, like what made them act like that on stage and off stage? Like what made her try to make every rehearsal about her for some reason? Oh, it's because she's not as featured in this show as she was in her last show. So now she causes a scene in every rehearsal.
The things you have to deal with, right?
Right. And especially in the hair world. So once I got a little too old to dance, I went to cosmetology school, started working. I've worked in 7 different Broadway shows and probably 8 to 10 different TV shows.
Can we talk about some of those Broadway shows too? Because you have a very impressive resume. Come From Away, Aladdin. I mean, these are all really big musicals. How did you get your foot in the door in those shows?
It was from being a performer for 20 plus years. Most of the shows that I did that didn't have any hair person, I always loved playing with the wigs. Not my first professional gig, but instead of going to college, I did cruise ships. I danced on cruise ships. And Royal Caribbean used to have, instead of having hair and wardrobe persons on the ship, they would just pay somebody from the cast a little bit extra. So every contract that I did, I made $25 a week extra to just make sure the wigs didn't look like crap before they went on stage.
What a great, but isn't that an amazing opportunity? And by the way, I am totally shocked because you would think they would have, we call it what, a wig master? You would expect them to have
hair and makeup supervisor. Yeah. They do now.
Wow.
But back in the 90s, right, they weren't going to pay that extra person.
There was no budget for that.
Exactly.
Right.
So when I, like I said, in 2018, when I was like, okay, the audition world is a little too much for me. I'm ready to try something else. I had reached out to a couple of friends who did hair and was like, hey, how did you break into this? And they were like, well, what's your experience? And I said, well, Royal Caribbean and, the little regional productions and stuff. I would help out sometimes. And they were like, that's all you need. And I was like, oh, really? Amazing. And so I did I did interviews at Mean Girls and Aladdin. They were my first 2 interviews. And the supervisor at Mean Girls said, I can teach you how to style a wig. I can't teach you how to quick change. You know how to quick change. I need you in this building. Because Mean Girls had some of the fastest changes that had ever happened to date.
Tell us what a fast change is. How many minutes?
The Mean Girls has the fastest change on record, which was a half a second.
I can't even. That is really nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So that wig and costume went over an entire other wig and costume. So one of the things I had to do was bunch up the wig underneath, and then my
Yes.
supervisor would put the second wig on top of it, and then the wardrobe person would clip the magnets into the top wig onto
The magnets. They used magnet. I'm getting little tricks from you.
Oh, always magnets with the quick changes. And then they would just pull the costume off in one piece, and it would rip the wig off, and the other costume would be on underneath, and that under wig would fall down, and she would just kind of fluff it, and there she was ready to go.
Incredible.
But even
Really?
just like the, pulling it off without ripping the girl's hair out,
Right.
knowing where the pins
I have
go.
to ask you, did that ever happen? Was there ever a snafu? There had to have been.
I've had one wig fall off on stage. It was Kinky Boots.
Blasphemy.
Yes, and it was the boy was told by the designer and by myself, do not get a skin fade unless you want us to glue your wigs to your neck. And what did he do 2 weeks later? He went out and he got a skin fade. And so there was nothing to pin. So it was only
So
pinning
you're
in.
using technical language, and I'm loving this. What is a skin fade?
Shaving all the way up to here. So this was
Like
all
this.
just shaved.
Wow. Yeah, there's nothing that you can't grab anything.
Yeah, so he had a headband, and so I'd pin it into the band, but then the band just goes whoop, because the band has
Right.
nothing to hold on to.
Right.
So that was, and then Kinky Boots, so they're out there, wha, 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 wha.
Yeah, right.
It went whoop, and it stuck, like his mic was in it, so it kind of stuck to the back of the costume. But
I'm sorry. It's hilarious. I know it wasn't the night that it happened, but I could just imagine how that looked.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was my only real big snafu. I've never had any. I've had at Aladdin, I've had Iago's wig. So for that one, we used sticky tape.
I was going to say, yeah, right. The tape.
So we stick the tape to the inside of the lace, and then he gets it on very delicately, press, press, press. I had put the sticky tape on backwards. So the ultra sticky part that's supposed to go to the skin was stuck
in the wrong place.
It was to the lace. So it just kind of like boop, and was just kind of hobbling on his head, but it never actually came off, thankfully.
Wow. All right, it hobbled, but it didn't fall off, which is, credit to you. So being that you are such an expert on wigs, I'm going to tell you my pet peeve. Lace wigs, which I've had to wear in shows. To me, no matter what, you can always see that line there. Can't they come up with like something better?
Unfortunately, no. That's the problem. So the problem is you need the lace because that's where you pin it onto the block. And if you can't pin it onto the block, there's no way to style it. You can't you can't style the wig unless the wig is secure to something in the shape of the person's head.
Got it. Well, I just style my Amazon wigs that I get from Amazon. I hold them up in my hand and I just go like that and fluff them out then on my head. Oh, by the way, don't judge me, Amazon.
No judgment's necessary.
I love fake hair. I love fake hair.
I won't say what show, but I've had my hands on a $4,500 human hair lace front wig that the first time I went to wash it, the hair went because they had sewn the hair into the lace backwards. So it immediately tangled right at the root. And I was like, wow.
Oh, so you couldn't do anything with it.
Much money for this wig. So.
Wow. This is such a great discussion. I never get to talk to anyone I talk to a lot of hair makeup people that I work with on shoots, but wigs is a whole other thing,
Yeah, it's a totally different beast. And there are all kinds of techniques that can be explained to you in 100 different ways, but until you've actually got your hands on it and have done the pinning or the clipping or the whatever it is yourself, it's hard to wrap your mind around.
Right. Much less your wig.
Yeah, exactly.
Much less your wig. It's interesting to me because I've met you in person. You're so young, and yet you left dance at a time when you just thought, no, it's time to get out. What was the indication to you that you needed to move on?
I wasn't enjoying it. I was not having fun anymore. And that was the moment that I went, oh, I need a
What
change.
was not fun? Had you done too many shows? What burnt you? Did your body hurt?
Auditions burnt me out.
Auditions burnt you out. Yeah, I could understand that. Yeah.
I have I have an interesting type, which everyone loves to tell me, like, oh, you can just fit into any show anywhere. And I'm like, I actually don't think I can.
Right.
And I'm 5'8", which is apparently short for a dancer now. It wasn't 20 years ago, but it is
Are
these
you
days.
kidding? I thought dancers had to be like shorter.
Oh no. Most auditions these days say male dancers must be 6 foot plus.
I wonder how it came to that. That's interesting to me because when I came up in the business, because I'm 5'9", that somewhat worked against me. I'm not a dancer, but I'd be paired with people and they were always shorter because the guys just were shorter. Wow, that's really interesting. I wonder why they want everyone so tall now.
Well, it's just the men. They want the men to be that much taller than the women. That's what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just part of it. It's part of what it is. I also, like, the longer I was going through auditions and not booking anything, the more bitter I was getting. So I was showing up to auditions, you know, with not the right attitude. And like I said, it just wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
So that was the moment. It's like, well, I'm not enjoying it, so why am I making it my career? But
I totally love though your honesty because I know you will share this, you know, with your kids, and it's not an easy thing all the time. I'm still doing what I did. I'm still in the same industry, doing a million jobs, and I'm lucky. But the industry's changed in that I'm doing Zoom auditions now, right? And I am actually booking things, but I hate that I'm not booking big in-person things, which were in my age demographic, there's a ton of commercials out there and I need to be seen in person. And I'm not. I'm putting it on Zoom in my fakakta lighting, right? In my home studio with my ring lights and set up. You know, I have my computer on little stairs that you use on a chair because that gives you, if people saw what we had to put together, it's crazy, Daniel. Absolutely.
It really is.
And then, you know, usually this room I'm in is pretty good, but if there's too much light coming in from the side windows, then I'm lit from the side, then I'm dealing with that. Then on top of it, you know this, they want it framed a certain way. So now I'm a lighting director, I'm an art director. All right. And then when it's all done, I have to look natural when I'm presenting it to the camera with the damn 6-page script that's been sent to me. Oh, by the way, can you be off book in the next 48 hours? No, I can't. I can't. It's way too much.
It is. From a creative side, I understand why they ask so much, but they really don't get the things that we put ourselves through for them. Just for the hope of booking the job, not even booked it yet. It's kind of crazy.
Right. It's for the hope of booking the job. And with doing everything, this is a very flat medium. It is. And this is what we're sending out there. So walking into a room, and you did it many, many times, as who you are as a person, it's your charisma, it's bringing the light into the room, it's working with the 4 people that are standing there that you're going to audition for. I totally miss that. I really, really miss that. And sometimes now I don't see the people I'm going to be working with until I show up the day of. And it's Brave New World. And I'm not going to bitch and moan about it because I'm certainly not bitter about it. It's what I do. And I'm blessed to be still doing it. I love what I do. But you're interesting to me because you knew when it was the right time to get on your pony and ride out, but you never left the industry. You just reinvented Daniel. You've done it a number of times. You're doing the wigs. I know you MC shows, so that's still using your performance self for fun. You're having fun.
Oh, yes. Oh, this burlesque show that I'm currently emceeing.
Yeah, I totally looked it up online. It really looks like I have to go to it. It looks so fun.
It It really is. The creative director is an Australian Broadway dancer guy who does all of the RuPaul's Drag Race tours. So he's on tour with 2 of the RuPaul's Drag Race queens at the moment, and like texting us instructions and things. But he's put together the campiest of camp shows on the planet. And I live on camp. I live in stupid. I live in that world.
That makes 2 of us over the top, completely guffaw. I totally love it all.
Inappropriate for the sake of being inappropriate. And so, you know, I come out and I immediately start with a Tom Cruise is a faggot joke, and then we take it from there.
And let's just go with that, right? And a Scientologist. That is a real up, right?
Yeah, because we all have a different costume, and mine's the vampire. So I'm like, who do you think I am? Who do you think I am? And they're like, Dracula. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm Lestat. I got long hair. I'm a rock star, and I'm played by a fag.
I love that. That's so totally funny. Where is this performance going on right now so that anyone who's listening can make a note to try and get there?
It's Thursday evenings in the city, New York City, at Balcone is the name of the bar.
Oh, of course I know Balcone really well.
Right on 9th Avenue and 48th, I think, 47th.
And you're every Thursday night there?
Every Thursday night, yeah, 10:30.
Okay. Until
Halloween. It's just a Halloween show.
Okay. Will you be there this Thursday night?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm looking for something to do tomorrow night. 10:30, leaving the house at 10:30 is a little late already because my days are full. However, I would love to come see this show. I think I'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's great. And the guys are all really great dancers. There's a different specialty act every week. It's a fun show.
Oh my God, how totally fabulous. I meant to ask you, I was just looking at the people we have in common. So you know Stella Dora.
Oh, yes, I know Stella.
So I've worked in not dancing ever, but on events with Stella. But Stella's been in our industry like me for forever, and just had to go through. I had a reason for asking you why you moved on from dance. Stella just had, of course, a knee replacement. That is just really rough, you know. And she's back.
I don't think I will ever see an evening in a gay bar somewhere without seeing Stella pedaling her mare. It's right. Yeah. It's just a
pro, you know, just an absolute pro. Well, I totally want to show. You sent me a great reel, so Juan, let's do it. Let's show the reel.
Every day, I'm dancing towards success, and nothing can stop me. Working as a dancer has always been my dream, but a rigorous performance schedule can take quite a toll on my body. As hard as it got, I never gave up.
Crib and all of its glorious antiquery. Every curve and surface speaks to me, saying, Pam, why do you polish a crib when you don't have a kid? And even if you did have a kid, this crib is too precious for placing a baby inside, so it simply exists to remind you your sense of perfection is just a reflection that you are not mentally prepared to make room for a kid. Adam, why can't you live? Adam, just make a start.
In the firelight, remember you were humming to your song, softly strumming your guitar. I can hear the distant drums, and I know every hour, every minute, each last eternity. I was so afraid, and I know every young and full of life, and none of us were ready to die. And I know the changes later on.
Last night.
Oh, great! The best one yet. They were only 5 minutes late, smelled cleanish, zero abusive behavior, reasonable eye contact, and
They even asked me a question about myself.
Wow.
Yeah!
So just barely a normal person?
Yeah.
So a second date?
What choice do I have?
With a line of mean big brothers that goes on for miles. A man you won't see in a statue of bronze. Just
That's great.
Oh wow, ghosts of performances past. I
I
forgot
know
about
that you
some.
seriously know how to move in the ABBA one. I don't know how many beats per seconds you were moving, but it was so fast. That's like, whoa, to be able to move your body like that. Incredible.
Thank you, thank you. That was probably one of my favorite dances that I've ever done, like in my career.
That was really, really incredible. But I totally enjoyed watching you reel. And I love that we have it on the show because, you came to Milford, what, like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, 2023. Yeah, fall 2023.
2023. And, you're on this show. We showed the reel. It really gets people to know who you are and what you're doing, because you brought out something earlier in the show that many of the kids only care about sports, and a lot of the parents only care about sports. But you know what? We have a lot of parents there that you probably haven't even tapped into yet, that seeing what you do and what a wonderful place Stagecraft is, they can have their kids go there and learn about performance in a very supportive atmosphere. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do is make people see that this kind of stuff can be cool. It can be fun. It doesn't have to be the same status quo that it's been forever and ever. We can change it. We can do it a little bit different, and that's okay. And when I show them, like, part of what I do is like I include the kids in the show creation. I say like, okay, guys, so like right now we're doing the Halloween show. Like, all right, here's my list of ideas. What do you guys got? And just last week, one of the girls was like, ooh, what about Somebody's Watching Me? And I was like, oh, that's a great song. Great. And then I was like, oh, yeah. Right. You know what we could do? I could put the Twilight Zone theme and we could do a little Twilight Zone style intro into Somebody's Watching Me. And it could be like a creepy, kooky Twilight Zone section, and
fabulous.
Yeah. And making really cool stuff out of it and adding like, black light sections and magic tricks and different things. So it's not just this, like I said, the same old boring. And now we sing that they're used to, and trying to make it cool and trying to make them a part of it and making them a part of the creation and giving them agency, letting them feel like their creative minds and that their creativity is worth putting on stage. It's worth.
You are doing that. And you know what you're giving them? Power and confidence. It's very hard for kids. It's always hard for kids, right? Adolescence especially is hard. But now with everything being on the internet and cyberbullying and the fact that people you might idolize as a middle schooler, so many of the people you might idolize are photographed through filters. We're presenting our kids with unreal ideals. And let's roll into that now, AI. All right.
Oh,
and
well.
I know, but you know what, Daniel? And I've got a whole bunch of friends in my age group that are like, not dealing with TikTok, not dealing with AI. wonderful if you can roll yourself up into a ball and think you're not going to have to deal with it. But guess for me, I have to deal with all of it. It's all out there. And these kids have to deal with it. What you're giving them is something that is genuine, and the risk of saying the same thing, authentic, which in the end will give them such power and confidence in who they are. And I'm not saying just as performers either. You're working with regular kids a lot of the time, but you know what? They're going to go on, they're going to go to college. Whatever they do next, they're going to take what stagecraft gave them with them. What an incredible gift, really.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of part of it is I in creating the school, I realized, you know, when I looked back on my childhood, I was I had a really, really rough time in middle school.
Yeah.
But then by the time I got to high school, by my freshman year, whenever someone would say something to me in the hallway, I would just turn around and give it right back to them. So if they were like, "Oh, fag," I'd be like, "Okay, pig fucker." And I would move on with myself, you know, because it's Tennessee. So it's really easy to make fun of people in Tennessee. Trust me. And so I can look back on that and be like, what was that switch? When, where, why,
I was
how?
going to ask you, when was that switch?
And I think the switch came because of the years through, like from the 5th grade to the up into my freshman year, I was constantly performing. The summer before the 8th grade, my show choir went to Orlando and we performed at Disney World on the Tomorrowland stage for everyone at Disney. Like whoever happened to be in Tomorrowland that day. And then and then 2 days later, we were doing the same thing at Universal and on the street for whoever was walking by. We were constantly in the mall food court or a parking lot of a fast food place. We did too many Sonics. We performed in every Sonic in the East Tennessee. The woman who owned the dance studio made friends with the guy who owned a bunch of franchises, and that was that.
I love it.
But it really was just constantly performing and just being on a mic in front of strangers, putting my whole self, my whole vulnerable self out in front of all these strangers all the time.
You were very lucky.
Yeah.
You were very lucky that you had this because, you know, parents talk to me all the time. And a lot of the times they're parents of LGBTQ kids. And a lot of those kids, for whatever it's worth, really should be in theater. I don't mean where they've got to run out on auditions, but to me, and my daughter and I have discussed this, even when she was like in middle school and high school, I was like, they just need to be in theater. They'll be fine. They need to be with other kids that are like them, or at least in a high school that's got a theater department where they can immerse themselves in. And it's not about them going on to become the next, you know, top actor at all. It's about, you just said it, doing those performances, being on stage. I know we have an incredible theater department in Milford at Delaware Valley High School. And those kids, I've met some of the kids that have come out of that. There's a lot of talented kids in that, but also for the kids that may not be number one, look what they're building in terms of who they are as people. They are going to go on to college where they can take even more theater classes, but it really sets you apart from all the BS. And, you know, today I had people on my show from Theater for the New City, which, you know, I love Theater for the New City. They put on so many, Crystal Field puts on so many shows there. She's got endowments. She's incredible. But what we've learned from a place like that, you can have a dream, you can get it up on stage. It builds community. And that's what we're talking about at the end of the day. And right here, as you and I are here, we're being surrounded in the United States of America by some very ugly things right now. And people say to me, Wendy, you know, how do you deal with it? Do you read what the news? I said, damn straight I read the news. I have to be informed, but I also have to go out there and spread that positivity. All right. I've got to MC shows. I've got to do stand up. You're taking this and you're bringing it to your kids, and you're, you know, emceeing in this show that you're in on Thursday nights at Balcone. You're entertaining people. Everyone that comes into that space is watching you. You're making them feel good. And right now, Daniel, that's what we have to bring to the party. making people feel good.
Yeah, there was actually the I'm glad that you mentioned that at the show, the burlesque show last week. There was a trans audience member that came up to me mid-show and said, "I don't know what's wrong with you, but I love every fucking second of it." And I was like, it's advanced ADHD, but thank you. You know, and it makes me think of the old, you know, what they said about the LGBTQ plus community back in the 80s and 90s going through the AIDS crisis, how they would take care of their friends all day and then party all night.
Right.
And the party all night is what got them through the day. So for me, the burlesque and the theater and the stagecraft and the even doing hair at Aladdin, any of these little things are the creativity and the joy and the reminding ourselves about the connection and the community that we have through this mutual love of all these different things. That's what's getting me through it. That's what's getting me through this year from hell.
And absolutely, because I can't focus on the hell, because every day there's a different card trick being played. And I tell people this all the time. I can only focus on the good things and the people I can touch. You touched that transgender audience member. Whatever they were going through that day, they came to your show and they felt good. And you know what? How wonderful and powerful to be able to do that. I think it's really just amazing. Now, I want to ask you, do you ever have pushback from parents that, you know, they want you to push their kids more, or pressure from parents at all? Because there are also stage struck parents. We all remember, like, Honey Boo Boo. There's those pageant parents. A lot of those moms are like, you didn't live the dream, and now you're going to put it on your poor kid. Do you ever experience that?
Not with my kids. And you know what's funny? Those parents avoid my program because I'm no auditions, no competitions.
Yeah,
those parents want their kids to be at the top of the pyramid. So I've actually noticed, like, the kids that are like that and the parents that are like that, they don't want to come anywhere near this program.
Wow. I totally love what you're doing. I can't believe it. We've got like 2 minutes left. I don't know where the time went. What would you like to tell people out there?
What I would like to tell people is that I hope that everyone can get something out of what I'm doing, not just my students. I hope that anyone, whether you're in the entertainment industry or whether you're an accountant or a farmer or whatever it is that you do, I hope that if you're watching this, that if what you take away from me is that if you lead with positivity, if you lead with community, you will always get better results. If you lead with support, and if you take away the competitions and take away the insecurities, that's what's going to make the world a better place.
Yeah, definitely. And the work is pure, you know, and it's coming from a basis of caring and wanting to work with other people. I totally love your message. One quick question from me before we end. How the heck did you find Milford, Pennsylvania?
My ex bought a vacation home.
I figure it was either that or you went to camp in Milford, or someone in your family. That's usually how people find it, you know?
Right, yeah.
For me,
we were looking in the Hudson Valley and somebody was like, check Pennsylvania. And we were like, oh, yes, there we go.
Oh, and it's so close for you. You can easily come in for your Thursday night burlesque show. I always like to take a picture before we go. So, and I like doing it on the computer. There we go. Say cheese.
Cheese, Jazzy.
Cool. Well, Daniel, thank you. You are terrific. I hope I see you. I'll be out for the Black Bear Film Festival. I'm hoping to do interviews for that. And I am actually looking for a video person. And yes, I am putting that on air and it's paying. I'm paying, but I need someone that can shoot my interviews with the people that are there. So Daniel, maybe you even know somebody.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask around. One of my
If
student
that
staff
would
likes
be
to do it.
great. And Nugget wants to say good night, everybody. Daniel, thank you so much. Wishing you all the best with Stagecraft. And thank you, everyone who tuned in. Good night.
Yeah.